All right, guys, this podcast is brought to you by Enchanted Beauty Spa Party Bus, an experiential spa party bus that includes manicure, which they look so cute because they get their little nails painted, a pedicure with real spa bowls, like how we use ladies at the nail place, at the nail salon. They also get little glitter makeup. They get to dress up. They get pampered galore. I mean, we're talking about they get their feet massaged, their hair done, their little hands massaged, and then they get to play dress up as well because they provide free little hair clips. They provide little tutus for them to play and dance. And then after all the fun is over, they get a little karaoke party. And so they're singing and dancing to any music that they want to listen to. You're able to book this bus for 2 hours. So, I mean, 2 hours of nothing but fun for your little ones to enjoy. And they come to you. You don't go to them. They come to your house. You book them at your own convenience. And it doesn't have to be a birthday either. You can just have a spa day for your little ones and her friends. So be sure you go and check out Enchanted Beauty Spa Party Bus. Let them know that we sent you. Use promo code HERR10 to get a discount on your booking today. All right, guys, this episode is brought to you by Major Beauty. Your girl is about to hook you up because y'all know how I do my lashes all the time. And Major Beauty is going to offer $20 off your initial full set of lashes. And the first 6 months, you can also use this promo code HER20 and you can get $20 off your membership because she does offer membership services. So she not only does eyelashes, she also does permanent makeup, those new henna eyebrows. If you're not ready to go full force on the tattooing of the eyebrows, you can try them out by getting this henna stuff done. I haven't tried it because y'all know I got microbladed eyebrows, but I do use Kiana for my lashes. She is my new lash tech. I'm loving her. She's great and she's super duper professional and you're going to love her little studio. So check her out, The Major Beauty. Make sure you use promo code HER20 to get a discount off your full set and your membership for the next 6 months, guys. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Her Lounge podcast. This podcast is going to be very interesting today because so much has happened since, I've recorded.
Yeah.
So today, although it is still a form of positivity and you may or may not believe in God or whatever. But Real Talk Kim posted a great prayer yesterday, which I feel we can all benefit from, especially with me always saying, better get right with God. So I thought this was the best thing that reference to better get right with God. It says, God, heal the anger in this world, heal the hate, heal our hearts. Give us such a hunger for you, a pure love in our hearts to live and love you with all our hearts and love our neighbor. I'm praying for every one of you reading this tonight because she posted this, okay? Praying for peace and comfort over you. My prayer over you tonight is that you will meet face to face with the power of God and allow him to do what you cannot do on your own. May he consume all that is not of him and replace it with his fire. May he set you ablaze. I decree and declare this is the best sleep of your life. You will wake up and replenished in every area that is depleted. You will be filled with love, hope, joy, and peace. And she says, good night, awesome friends. And I just thought it was such a great prayer for what just happened in Uvalde. You know what I'm saying? With the shooting of these kids. I know a lot of people. Oh, first of all, I know we just prayed. But the dumb B of because I don't want to say the words, I just literally prayed. Okay. The Dumb B Award goes to the person who I don't know because it wasn't a real account. It had no face and it was private, of course. Who wanted to battle the gun, called me, oh, I didn't know this is what you stood for. I'm unfollowing you. Listen, if you're listening to me right now, don't announce your exit. I don't care. Just unfollow. You came to my page to see what I post. So don't come at me. Just don't. So I post and talk about whatever I want because it is my page. And if you don't like it, there is a button on my page that you can click on. It will allow you to unfollow me. So just unfollow and don't announce your exit. I'm not going to cry and say, please don't unfollow me. I want you to be my follower, please. I'm not.
A couple years ago, you might have.
I might have been really hurt by it. But right now, I don't really, no one wants to hear anybody. Can you imagine if we had a bunch of the same people in the world? How boring would we be? It's a great thing that we don't all agree on everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to walk around with the same person all the time. You know what I'm saying? It'd be no fun in life if we couldn't battle or we couldn't debate.
Yeah, ironically, that's what a lot of people feels like on a certain part of the spectrum, wants everything to be the same.
Yeah, like I just don't. You know what I'm saying? I am okay with accepting people's different opinions, and that's what life is. We don't always agree, but we can always agree that you have your point of view, I have my point of view, and if we can still move forward, that is a great thing. Yeah. Because we can still coexist regardless of where we stand on your views, on whatever it is. I don't even just mean politically. I mean on whatever. You may not believe in spanking. I believe in spanking. You see what I'm saying? So there is a lot of things that I just don't. I'm 40 now and I don't have time. I really don't have time.
Woo, 40?
So I am 40. So that's all I got to say on that. So B award goes to the person who DM'd me 5 paragraphs because I was not going to read it. I read for the first 3 sentences and I just put the wave and said unfollow, please.
React to the actual wave. Did you react with like a wave? You know how you hold the picture or the message down, you can add like a reaction to it?
Oh, I didn't know that. I just put the little hand from the emoji that looks like this with the little that shows like it's waving. Yeah. I just did that and I said unfollow.
You know the one that we think is a prayer hand is actually a high five?
Yeah, I know. I reposted it. My uncle Marvin posted that and I was like, I can never see the sign again.
Yeah, I was like, my life's been a lie.
Yeah, and it's funny because now I just say, I don't care. It's still my prayer hands.
Same. And I don't even really pray, but I still like using the emoji.
Or to say please, that's what I use.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh my God. But
so yeah, I guess you gotta kind of address what happened, right?
Yeah. Like, so, I just think that my heart goes out to the families of all these children. I cannot even a little bit, not even a itty bitty bit, imagine what these parents were feeling as they got the alert or the call that, you know what I'm saying? There had just been a mass shooting in their school and they're being held and you don't know if your child was one of the kids that were shot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That just really validated for me that my child will not be going to school. She's homeschooled for sure. Until the schools can come up with a good plan.
Mm-hmm. Well, so
to protect our kids, my child will go.
What is that kind of like? Let's start this conversation. What does that look like?
Okay.
First, like what's step 1 in the right direction for you?
So I'm going to tell you something real quick. So Second Baptist is building a brand new kids center, which is their school, right? And this is being built by people's tithe, you know what I'm saying? Donations from other organizations to the church, right? It is an amazing facility. And one Sunday at church, they basically broke down what everybody's contribution to the church, where it's going to, because you can choose where you want your money to go to. I don't even know if, I'm not trying to talk mess about a church, but I don't know that it goes to really what you pick, but at least they kind of broke down to you how much money they received on the past Sundays and how much of that is going towards.
Oh, pretty transparent.
So they did a whole budget thing
Nice.
on the screen at church. And then they kind of told you how much of that is going to this facility. One of the things that they have is a panic button. One point of entry only. There's no other access for you to get into this school unless you're from the inside going out, right? Mm-hmm. So, and only teachers have the access to come back in. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So,
like key cards or something?
Yeah, I don't really know they didn't get into detail with that. They just said our teachers will be the only ones with access. Mm-hmm. So there's only one point of entry, which that's a starter. If I read this correctly, the thing is that details are still being released. So I don't really like to just say this is what's happening. We really don't know, right? But according to what was released, it says that he jumped the fence into the school, right? The back of the fence of the school. Mm-hmm. And that's how he was able to have access to the school and just started shooting up, right?
Okay.
So my thing behind that is, how did he enter the school? If he jumped the fence from the back, if this is true, what they described, then how did he get into the school? So you're telling me that the other doors around the school were opened? And anybody can just come in at that point then, right?
Oh, yeah. That's how when I grew up in a school like that, you know.
Okay. So I want to read something from someone. Sheesh. I hope I saved it.
Granted, this was in a time where when you heard the phrase, you know, live in a small town where the doors don't lock, was like, yeah, totally. I mean, totally safe. Every neighbor knows everybody. We feel totally safe in this area. You can't really say I'm going to leave the doors unlocked anywhere. I don't leave my car door unlocked, much less a fucking house door or a business door. You know, well, I guess if the business is open, but a school, I wouldn't. They should always lock when you close them behind you.
Totally 100%. So that's to begin with, right? 2, why aren't we training our teachers to, instead of doing what is it called? I don't even know what the drill is called. Something, it's like a fire drill, but this is a drill. Should a shooter come in, you hide behind a closet door. Mickey was telling me yesterday that those are the kind of drills you do. You go behind the closet doors where you put your stuff. And this is an elementary school. And you just hide behind the teacher, behind the closet doors. They open them up and they hide behind there. Those are their drills. So
it's really frustrating because
what is going to happen? What is the teacher going to do? Throw an eraser at the shooter?
Now I want to watch the Run, Fight, Hide, the Daily Wire movie. About 6 months ago, they came out I think it was their first or second movie where the whole synopsis is there's a shooter and there's a girl in the school who had marksmanship training and got a gun or whatever, and she basically defends the school, right? I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I'm with you. I think the teachers need to be packing, but there's too much headbutting about that fact. I don't understand it. What were you gonna pull up?
I wanted to find this guy's thing that he posted. Gosh, I can't find it. But I will say this, and I liked Little Duval's, who is a comic. I know, guys.
Love Little Duval.
Little Duval posted something which I believe is real, because this is going to be the opportunity for politicians to start battling each other. Because,
because they don't already need one?
Yeah, because Beto O'Rourke already came up and, had plenty to say to Governor Abbott, right? So I'm just saying that. He posted something, and it's this I guess graph, and it says mass shooting at the top, and then an arrow goes down and says media extravaganza, another, so it looks like this.
Little Duval posted that?
Yes.
Okay.
And then it goes down and says thoughts, another arrow down, right? Thoughts and prayers, arrow to the left, social media gun debates. Now it goes up. No one actually does anything. It goes up, back to normal. Is that not true? Yeah. Is that not the cycle of all these mass shootings that happen in school? They talk so much shit, right? So much shit. Listen, if you're a conservative and a Republican and you really want to make change, why don't you fucking force this shit in the schools? Teachers, I don't care if you're against guns, but you need to figure out y'all all need to be trained. You know what I'm saying? It almost the same way that people feel like cops need to have a taser, not a gun, right?
Yeah.
You need to find some sort of, if a teacher does not feel comfortable having a gun, then I don't know what her solution is going to be, but she needs to you're responsible for these 36 kids or 26 kids in your class. Some shit. And it's crazy that we're even talking about this. I never heard of this in growing up. Never. I don't know. I am from the era of Columbine. That's when I first, that's when I was like, whoa, shit like that. Because for me, school was safe. I don't know about how you felt, but at least for elementary school, I never felt there was only one time.
I felt so safe. I thought I was in a prison.
Yeah. Speaking of how things are open, you're absolutely correct. Because I remember in high school, because you got to be able to get into the school, right? From the parking lot. Because you're in high school, you drive. Yeah. So the back door is open, right? So I don't know if it should be something listen, if you don't make it into anything, if you don't get to school by the time the bell rings, now you have to go in through the one only point of entrance, which is the front. If you're a student there, does that make sense? Because they leave that back door open in high school for me, because that's where students park. So that door is always open, because some students do, off campus, where they went co-op. There you go. And so then they'd come in and out. They leave, you know what I'm saying? They're done for the day, but their cars are there. So they have to be able to come in and out. My point to that is there's got to be a solution for that. So I don't know, but I feel I reposted something that Pete sent me, and this is from
You went straight to teachers pack-in while you're looking that up. I thought you would start with like, at least we should agree to have like cops or armed guards.
No, that's that's to begin with. That should be it.
That should be right. That's what I'm saying.
Number one, yes, for sure. Here's the thing: what I don't get about that. Why isn't there money for us to have cops 24/7 on school?
I wonder where the money's going. This all really does originate with the fact that everybody's got to remember these people are voted in. Every single one of them. From the fucking old decrepit man at the top to everybody who works in schools. They're voted by you people.
And the crazy thing is that the fact that someone sent me. So here's one thing that Pete sent me, and I thought this was it. Hunter Pollack, I don't know how you pronounce his last name. Pollack.
Okay.
Pollack. Single point of entry, armed security, protect our schools like we protect our airports and federal buildings. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Why aren't it's like when I read that, I was like, I know. Fucking airports have fucking security everywhere. You know what I'm saying? You can't enter here. You know, you've got dogs and, you know,
every official in DC has armed guards around them.
You know?
Celebrities. LeBron's got armed security around him.
So, I mean, I know I pay taxes for HISD. So why aren't there cops? Don't tell me there's no money. You're not using it wisely.
Yeah.
Tulsi Gabbard says, we grieve for the 21 who were killed in Texas today. But grieving is not enough. We would have and must now take common sense actions to prevent these tragedies, like establishing single points of entry in schools, which is what armed guards.
Yeah, totally.
Trained staff, mental health services, and more. 100%. Like,
you know the way there's an academy to become an officer, and I don't know how stringent it is, but you have to pass some sort of like activity, physical
like
activity,
personal training,
all that stuff. Same thing for being in the military. I feel like if you want to be a teacher, you got to also pass. You have to know some self-defense. You got to know some markmarksmanship.
And even if you don't know it, the school should provide it.
That's what I mean.
It should be a monthly training because you still have to brush up on those skills. Just because you take it one time doesn't mean you're going to walk away with all the knowledge.
Yeah.
So it needs to be. You know what's so crazy? What is that thing called the
sheepdog response? Yeah, Tim Kennedy's?
Yes, okay,
yeah.
Tim Kennedy's. So there's one happening the weekend of my birthday, and it's how to defend yourself with a gun. Yes.
Yeah.
I told Pete, I said, I want to do this for my birthday.
You know, Tara's she's the full-time instructor for the women.
Oh, she is now for them? Oh, great. And did she move back?
She did. She moved back to Oklahoma and then got this so she travels, I believe, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but I believe she's like the go-to girl for the girls training. Yeah.
Yay! Awesome. Well, congratulations to her. That's dope. But I saw a training happening the weekend of my birthday, and I told Pete, I want to go to this. Don't ask me what I want for my birthday. I'm telling you right now, save it. It is important because trust me, when Pete is out of town and I'm home alone, I'm making up scenarios in my head because I'm terrified, right? Because I'm like, I'm by myself, you know. And yesterday, the cleaning lady came the other day to my house. And so I always close the case where the guns are in the side of my bed, right? And then I just left them there. And it's crazy because I don't think she knows what those are. And so she just stacked mine and Pete's gun on top of each other and put them on one nightstand. And when I came out of the shower last night, I said, that's funny. I said, if someone broke in right now, I said, what are we going to tell them? Hey, 1 second. I need to get my gun out of my case real quick. You know what I'm saying? It was like hilarious. So Pete's like, okay, what do you want me to do? And I was like, nothing. I was making a joke. Jesus. Like, I was just saying, like, they're so nicely stacked. It's so pretty just sitting there, you know, but should someone break in, we're not prepared, you know? Yeah. So I guess he was laying there and I guess he just kind of thought like, shit, she's right. Got up, took the gun out of the case and put it right next to his nightstand. And I was like, but it's true. That's what I do. When Pete's out of town, the first thing I do is I pull out the gun. It's on my nightstand. I make sure everything, like, I'm not going to lie. I like once the girls fall asleep, this is what I do. I walk around the back of the yard with my gun in my hand on the side. I feel safe, cool. I'm inside. I lock the back door. I put on the alarm. And now I'm just like sitting there for a hot minute. Every time I come to the kitchen to get something, I go check that camera. If I make a bottle for Sonny, I go check that camera. It's like an obsession when he's out of town. Yeesh. Yeah, it's bad. It is because I've never been like that. And you know what's crazy? This is totally off subject, but I know I'm old now. Because we were driving to this weekend, right? We had those shows, and guys, I promise
Oh.
I'll get back to.
No, well, I mean, that's part of the podcast, right? But also, this is dropping Wednesday night. The reason it's not dropping Wednesday morning is because we're recording it the day it drops.
Yes, because I was out of town Monday and we drove back.
Right.
Juan helped us out this weekend, right? And we decided to drive from Canyon Lake to Abilene so that we wouldn't have a 4-hour drive in the morning. We would have a 2-hour drive, and we stayed in Brady, Texas. I had never even knew Brady, Texas existed. I went on the map and just Googled halfway to Abilene, and it happened to be Brady, Texas. It was really cool, small town. Y'all think I have a twang? Y'all haven't heard nothing yet. That's all I got to say. If Siri doesn't understand me, they definitely don't understand them. That's all I got to say. But we were there. Oh my God, look, and Siri heard me.
They're always listening.
And so
shut up, Siri.
Yeah. And so anyway, we were driving, and it's in the middle of the night, and I feel Juan is swerving, and Pete's falling asleep. I'm like, guys are just so like, yeah, I'm gonna go fall asleep. He's in the front seat. I'm in the back seat, right? I'm totally a back seat rider, like 100%. And I was getting so nervous. And finally, I just hit Pete on the shoulder, and I told him to check his damn text. It's like, he's falling asleep. I don't know what he was doing. Pete said he wasn't. I don't know what he was doing. Rob, my hands were sweaty. I was getting anxiety to the point where I wanted to scream and say, pull the fuck over. I'm taking over. Like, it was that bad. The only reason I didn't was because it said we only had 47 minutes left. And all I kept thinking was like, well, what if in 47 minutes we crash because this fucking guy decides to follow? I'm like thinking everything possible. And then I finally just take a deep breath, and I said, you really, I think, have anxiety and like or control issues. And I just told him, like, afterwards, I said, I apologize in advance. I'm like, I am very bossy. I said, listen, I'm about to tell you all my flaws. I don't need no one else to tell me them. I know them. I said, 1, I'm bossy. I said, 2, I said, I like to have control of most everything that I can control. I said, and 3, I'm probably going to get on your nerves because I am going to say something. And he just laughed. He goes, no, you're fine. Because, he's just really nice. I said, so I just wanted to give you a heads up. And Pete's laughing. He's like, dude, the whole night she kept fucking telling me, you better make sure he's not falling asleep. I'm like, I got kids to get back to.
Damn, Kate Foster.
I'm like, I've got kids to get back to, like I cannot afford to die just yet.
And that's what it is, right? It's the fact you have kids. It's the fact that you want to get back to your kids.
Yes.
That it stresses you out that you may or may not make it because someone else is driving a car or whatever mishap happens. But no, I totally agree with you.
I was nervous as hell. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I've got to take something. I was like, geez, and smoking wasn't going to do nothing. It's probably going to make me more paranoid in the middle of the night. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then we kept seeing deer everywhere.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? It was like deer was everywhere. And and we're going fast, And I was just like, oh my God. And Pete's like, he's awake. He takes some kind of I guess it's a form of nicotine that gives you and he's just spitting in the thing. So I guess when he would be spitting is when he would kind of swerve is what Pete was saying. I couldn't see. So listen,
good
to me,
cover up if it is.
Exactly.
Fast thinking, Chingo.
So anyway, that's my story about this anxiety, which goes back to this. Mm-hmm. That's my anxiety about Penny going to school is I have no control of what happens at the school.
Right.
So as a parent, you feel like, oh, I'm dropping my kid off at school. Now it's the school's responsibility between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m., right? You assume that they're going to have all the right protocols to take should some shit happen, right? Mm-hmm. But there isn't any. And here's the thing. Why aren't we as parents questioning these at our PTA meetings or at our school board meetings? Like, what are y'all going to implement in our school systems, right? Mm-hmm. To not have such easy access to enter into a school? What is the solution to that?
I think we've already kind of started at some really good points as having armed security there and armed cops, have the teachers be more educated on it.
But there was cops at my school. Were there none at yours?
Uh-huh. Yeah, there was.
They were like the Spring Branch Independent School District actual police department. Like it was a school. Mm-hmm. So I don't understand why these schools where these shootings are happening, don't have the police officers.
Yeah, that's got to be a total, community budget thing, or I don't know.
The budget is there, Rob. They're just not using it.
Probably.
Man.
I know Uvalde's small. I know it's not the biggest town, but still, I feel like that should be like you have to have it in your budget, no matter how big or small.
There's got to be some sort of panic button too. Like so back to this thing is to the school, to one of the church's building. So there's a panic button to where immediately the doors lock. Like if someone's shooting, they can't come in, and they're actually bulletproof. The windows of the school are bulletproof. What else? There's a bunch of shit. And when I thought about it, I was like, sadly, it's a private school that can offer these things to children.
Yeah.
But a public school, I guarantee you, has more money than a private school, because private schools are run by parents who pay.
Right.
That's why it's a private school. So I can only assume that the funds that a public school has is way bigger. Has to be. Right?
I would agree, yeah. And they get funds, they get subsidies from the government.
Exactly. So what is happening? Again, this is why that's always one of my biggest debates. It's like, why aren't we asking for receipts? Why aren't we asking where the money is being allocated every fucking year that they have a new budget? Why aren't teachers getting raises like they should be, right? Why aren't they being trained on how to protect our kids instead of just doing a drill that hides behind a closet door? Hide under your desk.
Should we go back? Should we put a tinfoil hat on and just go back to the fact that schools are supposed to be like little worker factories? They're really just there to make you a competent enough employee and send you out into the world. They're not really concerned with any of the other things. I hate to say it, but none of these politicians or people give a fuck about your kids.
They don't.
They really don't.
That's why that meme that Little Duval posted, I thought was genius. He's absolutely correct. So the mass shooting happens. Social media goes crazy about it, right? Everybody fucking has to have their opinion about it, right? Which is fine, Now there's a whole social media battle. Now there's politician battles, right? About because my friend sent me this one thing where the politician was questioning the shooting, like, why should we have guns? And I'm like, I'm not going to get into this. It's because there's no winning. When people feel like we should not have guns, there's no winning and there's no understanding, because to them, they just feel like we shouldn't have
this
guns.
person you're talking about is 100% for just banning guns, or what's their stance?
She's just not for guns. Like, she doesn't find the purpose of it.
She doesn't find the purpose.
Like,
for
why do you have an AR? You shouldn't own an AR, right? Or why do you have a rifle? Any type of rifle, you shouldn't own it. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is that most people just look at it from the thing is that responsible people don't go around shooting.
Of course not.
You know what I'm saying?
And also, criminals will always find a way to get guns.
Always. And that was my argument.
You fucking dummies.
That was my argument. I was like, a criminal, whether you make it illegal or not, is going to find a way to get a gun because they're a criminal.
Right.
Now, doing an FBI background check doesn't always mean.
And those are already in place. That's another talking point people just don't know. They're just misinformed. They don't know that that's already a thing.
So when you go to I didn't know this, but Pete said that when he went and bought the guns, they didn't charge him for the FBI background check. I bought a gun at a gun show, and it was an additional fee to do the FBI background check in addition to buying the gun.
Because they have to do it at shows, which people also say, you can just go into a show and buy one. Not true, idiot.
But there are people there walking around trying to sell their guns.
I don't know about that.
No, there is. Yeah. I've been and
like at a trade show.
Yeah. And so they'll have guns that are available. Like, I'm selling this gun. Mm-hmm. They do have the certificate where you can, and there is a place there inside a lot of the gun shows where you can actually transfer ownership to guns, just like you do a car. So there is a person there that does all that stuff too as well, where you can do it legally. They're just selling their guns there, which I don't even think that should be happening. But you know what I'm saying? That is happening there. But my point is that a criminal will always find a way to get a gun. That has nothing to do with being for or against. I mean, first of all, the criminal, it's a criminal.
Yeah.
So he's going to use a knife. He's going to use a gun. He's going to use whatever he needs to do to commit his crime. So banning guns is only going to do what?
Just further divide the people, honestly. I had somebody who I don't really interact with, but she used to be an employee of mine at my old business, and she moved to LA. She's full blown LA, Los Angeles. What do you call them? Whatever, Los Angelinos or whatever. And she shared, on her story, like someone else's post where it's like, Governor Abbott, you have the blood of all these children on your hands, and I was like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
I this weekend driving through Texas, there's no reason why we should turn blue.
No.
Especially in these smaller towns. They are not playing, bro. They are not playing. We went into a diner. The guy just sitting there has a gun on his belt loop, like it's there. I stopped at a gas station. I saw a lady have her shirt and it said #SaveTheKids. And of course, you know me, we started having a conversation. She was actually on her way by herself. We're talking about probably a 65, almost 70-year-old woman.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to want to have their organization on y'all's podcast. So we traded information.
Nice.
They go to the border and try to help children and try to get down to the bottom of this. And they try to expose what's happening down there.
With the immigration?
With immigration. Yeah. We're talking about white people. These are not Hispanics. White people exposing what's happeing.
Do you remember the name of the organization? You wrote it down, though, you said?
No, I actually sent her a message. They're like Texas Correlation of something, cool. And so they go down there, and she was on her way down there by herself in her little Toyota SUV, and she had her gun on her hip. We're talking about an older lady, and she was just talking about how these kids, she showed me pictures of the rape tree, and I was just like, oh my God, why would you show me that? And it's just like, it's almost like trophies. They hang their underwear on the tree of all the kids.
Right.
And I'm just like that they've raped and women, not just kids. And so I was like, how do you just sit there and do this? She goes, I just keep telling myself that I'm trying to do a good thing by exposing this and letting people see what's happening down at the border, because no one thinks anything is happening down at the border. We've stopped talking about it. We've moved on.
Yeah.
And that's what happens with everything. We move on. The politicians have what? They've already debated it out. They've done whatever. So this is why, for me, it's never a party decision. It's who is going to do something about these real situations out there. And what are you going to do about it, and really do something about it? And when someone doesn't do something about it, I feel that we, the people who pay their salary to do whatever they say they're going to do, should fucking call them out on it. And it needs to start like, hey, bitch, almost like an evaluation. I've said this time and time again. You work anywhere in corporate America, you have a quarterly review. So why aren't we doing these fucking quarterly reviews for these politicians? Why have we just allowed them to take so much power over us being the people who vote and us being the people who pay?
Well, let's dissect that, right? Their quarterly reviews are biannual, right, or every 2 years, especially for Congress. Most elections are every year is local, and then every 2 years for all the federal ones. So midterms and primaries and national elections, for the most part, I think a lot of people are just now starting to see the importance of it. Again, post-pandemic. That's when everybody was like, holy shit, I'm 40 as fuck, I'm 30 as fuck, and I'm just realizing how important this stuff is. But this has been in motion for decades, right? We're going on a century of really being like a powerhouse superpower, longer than that, obviously, but you got to pay attention. And there's a reason why, if you made a video on all of the reasons why we need more guns and more, Texas is a constitutional carry state. There's I think 20 plus states now where you can constitutionally carry. You don't need to go get a permit if you don't want to, but you should get the training anyway, right? A lot of people are against that. Okay. So if you try to make a video of all of the things that you can do, to get a gun legally, and then how criminals get one illegally anyway, that will get suppressed by big tech, and you'll find a PBS video or a BBC video about why guns are terrible and you need stricter gun laws. Why? Because the narrative is that's what they want. So it's like we have to keep talking about this like a what do you call it, Kotoro, right? Because they forget about it. It gets suppressed. People get misinformed, and here we are.
I don't really like to post politics on my social media, guys. You guys have known that about me. I've never done it, and I feel just because there's so much out there already on it, I don't need to add to the bunch, right?
I agree with you.
But lately, I just feel like man, I'm not helping out by not posting or talking about it either, right? And I don't feel like I need to have this I feel like that's what my podcast is for, right?
Yeah.
You want to hear about how I feel about certain, issues or certain, things that are happening and laws, etc. It's definitely for my podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Share the show right now.
Yeah, exactly. So guys,
iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get it.
Wherever you get it, make sure you spread the word, share it with someone else. You know what I'm saying? Let them know about us. And tell them how wonderful we are, because we're just a podcast who is open-minded.
And go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say leave a review. We got to remind them every episode to go leave a review, because it helps with the charts, it helps with the rankings, and it just helps with the visibility of the show. So I've been meaning to do this. We have a couple of them here, real quick.
Oh.
We have tons of them. We have 4.8 stars, 64 reviews on iTunes.
What we do?
Tons. So I'm gonna start reading a couple of them. So good. I love the authenticity of this podcast. That was the title, right? Next title, fantastic podcast full of amazing content. I love listening to the HERR Lounge podcast. Marisol provides refreshing perspectives on so many topics. The content is fascinating and engaging. The guests on the podcast are always interesting and inspirational. Huge bonus is producer Rob, who has a sultry voice and awesome personality. Thank you. Next one, amazing. I love listening to Marisol's podcast. She always has amazing guests with great information for her listeners, and sometimes life-changing in a great way. Habits. Her podcasts are educational and just fun to listen to. And the list goes on. There's tons. There's almost 100
thank you, guys.
reviews. So let's see if we can add to that every week.
And share, and shout out to SNet for even on the Discord posting. Don't forget to go like her videos on YouTube and actually watch them, so that people can, so it starts populating on other people's, YouTube.
Yeah, and if you want to know what is on my microphone right now, you'd have to go to YouTube and see what Jess Tier sent me and Shingo to our P.O. box, the fan mail.
Exactly.
Inside joke. But anyway, yeah, back to what we were talking about.
But yeah, so that's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, it just, it's just too much. You know what I'm saying? It's too much. And here's the thing. People love to talk shit and love to have an opinion, but don't do anything about it except sit behind a computer and post their comment and post their opinion, and, are mad at the world and fuck this governor and fuck that politician, instead of actually, do something about it. And that meeting that lady at the gas station helped me realize that I'm not doing enough, which is what made me feel like, so maybe here once in a while, it's okay to post things about, issues that are happening. I don't want my content to be full of politics, because let's just be real. I'm just not a politics type of person. I'm more of like fashion, motivation, pop culture, how to improve yourself, how to be better.
It just so happens that we live in a time where it doesn't get, like, pop culture is all encompassing of politics right now, for whatever reason.
But everything is, I've guys, you guys know I'm obsessed with this whole trans thing, right? And so, like,
well, you've seen the videos of this kid, allegedly, right?
Supposedly,
which I can't verify.
I can't verify either. I did repost Lexit's post, and someone said they've said that those are two different people, that it's not the same guy. So if it is, I'm just gonna put, I'm just gonna post and put like wrong or whatever. I don't have a problem admitting when I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but you're asking questions, not just taking the narrative
exactly
for what they say.
So anyway, so it's just a lot of things. I have become a huge fan of the Spillover podcast, guys. I know you guys are. I sent it to the Discord.
Yeah, and Giovanni was just like not having it.
There was like, no way, I can't sit through it. But she's actually had some pretty interesting people, and here's where I'm talking about. It's all these issues, right? So now abortion was a big issue. So what? Abortion's no longer important now? Like, we've let it go? You see how it stays hype for a little while, and then it goes away. I heard an interview she had, which I reached out to her in hopes that she will come on our podcast. She is a survivor of an abortion. So she was supposed to be dead. She was an aborted baby. She survived. Did Pete say that on the podcast? I think, because I had told him. So she basically, her mom got pregnant the first year in college. Her grandparents were well known, right? And so she was like a head nurse, and That's when they use like that. What is it? Embalming fluid or to what is it called?
It isn't. Formaldehyde.
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 I can't even say it.
Formaldehyde.
Sorry, guys.
Transvestite.
Hermaphrodite.
That's what it was.
Kidding.
That's what it was. I don't know why I said transvestite.
So back in the days in the 70s, that's how they used to do abortions, and they would insert it in the womb, in the womb, so that they could start to kill the baby.
Wow,
and usually it would take 2 days, and then you would kind of deliver the baby, right? Well, they tried for 5 days with her, and she wouldn't die. And she was born, and she was crying in this bucket. And the nurse that her, she's her own grandmother, head nurse, said, make sure this baby does not make it. She's got to die. And the one nurse, because that head nurse, her grandmother threatened the nurses that they wouldn't have jobs there if they didn't do as they were told. One nurse said, I can't do that. This baby is crying. Took her to the NICU, saved her life. And now she's here telling her story. There are a lot of survivor kids of abortions, attempted abortions who survive. So she was they thought that she was only 21 weeks, but she was actually further along. She was actually 36 weeks. And so she was a little bit bigger. And luckily, the only thing she got out of all that torture her body went through were she's had shingles 5 times.
Oof.
So of all that, and it's because of all the stress that her body went through as a little baby. She was adopted and so forth. And then later on, when she found out, like how she found out was something like her sister got pregnant young, and I guess like her mom was not going to let her have an abortion because she knew that her adoptive sister was a product of that, and was against it, And so the sister knew that she was like a product of an abortion. And so they hadn't gotten in an argument. She goes, yeah, well, at least I wasn't aborted. And so she was like, what? Like, what happened? So that's when she started asking questions, found her mom. Her mom had no idea that she had survived the abortion. This whole time, she thought she had an abortion all her life. She thought, I aborted this child once upon a time. So one of the things they said was, if you've ever had an abortion, there's a possibility that, there's a kid out there walking around of a product of an abortion that you had, not knowing that they made it. Isn't that crazy?
That's insane.
Insane. And I was like, oh my God. So she has this whole organization. They go around talking about abortions, and they're against them and so forth, and now she's got this, or they go around talking about these are other survivors. She said some do have like they're missing limbs from the abortions, you know what I'm saying, and so forth. And I just couldn't believe it when I was listening to the podcast, everything she was going through, like everything she went through, like how the grandmother just was like, and the grandmother's passed now, you know what I'm saying? So she's like, she's like, she's a Christian. So she's like, I've forgiven her. You know what I'm saying? You have to. She said, otherwise you'll never move on once you find these things out. I mean, she found this out later as 13 or something like that. So it was like, she found this out. And then as an adult, she started, I guess doing her research, trying to find her mother. She's friends with her now, and they're cool. She's got siblings, from her mom. So she's cool with her siblings, but she said they met at a zoo for the first time. Like, it was like her story is amazing. I was like, wow. And then she just had another person on there talking about, she's in Austin, and she was a sex ed educator who was trained by the LGBTQ community. And they have a whole handbook of things that they go and talk about. I've reached out to her, right? Her name is Monica Klein, guys. So there's also a documentary she did. Let me get on here and I'll tell y'all the documentary name. But she kind of talks about what happens in these schools when she supposedly goes and talks about sex ed. Like we're talking about, she told one story where she's like talking to, so they're at high risk children.
What does that mean?
I guess they're sexually active. And some of them, they don't tell the parents that she's coming in to kind of train them and tell them. So
train them?
Yes, to tell them how to have sex safely. She said when she first started, she said, okay, so why aren't we teaching abstinence, right? Why aren't we teaching like not to have sex, that you should wait. You know what I'm saying? She's like, the trainer's like, no, we can't do that. You're judging. At that point, you're judging. Granted, these are, where do you think this is happening?
California or New York?
It's in Austin, Texas.
Word. Not surprised.
But they're happening in lower income schools.
So stupid.
Where she's having to come in and talk to these children. So those are the high risk kids. She said she had a couple little girls, and she was trying not to be graphic, I guess, but she did get one that was, she said that one girl said, I gag when I give head. Can you teach me how not to gag and how to like giving head? And she said she asked with such innocence. Like, it wasn't a funny question. It wasn't like she wasn't trying to be a smartass. She legit was asking the question. And she was like, what? Like, she said, I couldn't even believe it. She goes, her stare was so blank. Like, are you going to tell me? And she's like, you do know that if you don't like doing that, you don't have to do that. She said the entire classroom of girls looked like, wait, what? I don't have to do that if I don't want to? Like, it wasn't an option. Like, it's like, what? I'm having sex with boys. Boys want that. So why not? You know what I'm saying? And don't be a smart ass, because I feel like the smart comment is at the tip, like trying to be funny about it.
Hey man, I'm letting you finish your thought, all right?
And so she was like, you do know that you don't have to do that. And they're like, their face was like a blank stare, like, what? I'm not. She goes, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do anything. You don't want to. She said, excuse me, that's when she realized like she was doing the wrong type of teaching. Like, this is out of control. She said kids would go into Planned Parenthood, because Planned Parenthood is the number one for all this, right? With shit objects up their vagina or butthole from where they're trying to experiment and, find out what all these sexual things are. And instead of them saying, yeah, so you shouldn't be doing this, again, they told her that she would be judging, that she should just say, okay, here's some condoms. We've checked you for an STD. You're good.
It's a very deceitful name, Planned Parenthood.
It was so much. She bounced because she became a Christian. She talks about how they purposely go into lower income neighborhoods and put themselves there. She was educating some kids behind parents' backs. Like, they had no idea. They had this like one room where they would take these kids to teach them about sex ed. The state of Texas doesn't allow you to have sex toys, so they're called educational toys. And so she said she'd have to bring dildos to class, and you teach them how to put the condom on the dildo. Yeah.
See,
I reached out to her too.
Yeah.
To have her on the podcast. I haven't seen a DM response yet, but I'm hoping she does, because I could not believe half of that, of what was being said, because it's one thing to hear about it and read about it. And like I always say, it's like you go down a rabbit hole, and then I've been on weird rabbit holes lately.
Ooh, do
especially with this transgender detransitioning thing, that Blair White, transgender, female, because she's like, what I love about her is that she calls it out how it is. It's like, I don't regret it. right? But I also didn't change as a kid, and she doesn't agree with transitioning as a kid.
Yeah.
They offer hormones to kids. That lady talked about it. This one, she had some, I'm telling you, I know that her voice, that girl on the spillover, may be a little bit too like valley,
Too valley girl.
because she's from California. I totally get it. But I also heard another podcast of hers where she went down the, it's called TikTok, basically had them turn into trans. That's how, and so it was about like how, I guess, what is it called? Tumblr? Was that the thing first?
Tumblr, yeah.
Okay, so a lot of it, there's like groups in there where like they teach you how to be trans. And if you like, so basically the common denominator between the female and the male she had two guests at the same time, one who transitioned from male to female and one who transitioned from female to male. They had detransitioned back to what their original, their biological, yes. And they were there they're basically kind of going around speaking openly about how social media plays a big part.
Totally.
The one thing I found in common between both these people were they were people who struggled with making friends. Okay. So their social skills weren't, there. They had a hard time making friends. They just kind of like, they had body dysphoria. So more of, I'm chubby. I don't look as cute as the other girls. You know what I'm saying? Or him, like, he's like, I never felt manly enough, And there's some guys that are just born like that. You know what I'm saying? Especially, I think sometimes if like you're, like your mom maybe babies you too much, you know what I'm saying? It's possible, that it's like, oh shit. Like if you're used to your mom doing everything for you and then, you go off in the real world, it's like,
he's looking for mommy again.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like we as parents like do so much to try to like, we baby our kids sometimes to the point where it doesn't do them any good. You know what I'm saying? So, it was just crazy to hear these things. And so now I'm like down these rabbit holes. So I've just like been going down. If you go on TikTok and just do the hashtag detransition, there's so many videos about it. And there's so many transgenders who are trying to literally, I mean, it's like a cult. She said that, so this girl, what is the Harry Potter author?
Oh, what's her name? Is it Tolkien?
Whatever her name is.
I forgot her name.
I guess.
Is it J.R.R. Tolkien?
Yeah. Gerald, something. Yeah. You're right. Something like that. But my thing is behind that is, for some reason, Harry Potter is like big in the trans world.
What?
Yes.
The movie or the character or?
She doesn't know really. She says, I don't know what transgender has to do with Harry Potter, but for some reason they've taken it under their wing and made it theirs.
They're all dressed up. I don't know.
I guess. I don't know. Like I almost feel like, well, that's fantasy because that's what Harry Potter is. Well, it's like magic.
Let's be real. These people are all living in a fantasy in their heads.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. And so it's like, the reason I say Blair White is because it's almost like she knew, it's a gay person for me. I don't see her as a transgender. Mm-hmm. I see her as a gay person. And this is why I say that. A lesbian knows that she's a lesbian and she likes girls. She's not confused. She's not trying to be a boy. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. A gay guy has made it official. You know what I'm saying? He likes guys. And that's what he likes, right? This whole thing with you are on the outside someone else, but in the inside feel like someone else just doesn't connect for me. It doesn't go like for me mentally. And that's what I try to understand, which was the reason why I had Valentine on the show is because on my podcast, not the show. It was because I was really trying to understand the two. Why aren't you a lesbian anymore? Like, what made you feel like you had to go 100% into looking like a boy, like a man? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like, where does that happen? And they go really deep into a lot of the mental issues. She said she went to where? Where do you think she went and got her hormones?
Planned Parenthood.
Because
all they need is a signature.
Oh yeah,
and $100.
She said because in her state where she was, I don't think she said where she was from. Her state where she was from, I guess, doesn't allow where you don't need a parent's consent to be able to get hormones. You need one in the state that she's from.
Oh.
She had to go to another state to get this done. She talked to her counselor at the very beginning, and her counselor immediately, and she said the schools are the best. They're going to want you to transition. Your parents don't understand you.
Who was this guest? Do you remember the guest's name?
She's going around everywhere talking, so you might
have heard her already.
Yes, she's all over the internet. So hold on, I'm going to pull up the spill.
Yeah, for sure. It's a fascinating conversation, and I mean, we talk about it all the time, obviously, because Marisol can't get enough of it.
I can't. I really want to understand it, and because why is it happening so much right now?
Social media and the internet.
Totally
it's
social
what
media.
It is, yeah.
And no one thinks it's funny when I mention it to anybody. It's like, you're crazy. It's not really happening. What are you talking about? It's like everywhere. One day,
those people are still wearing masks.
Bro, did you hear the new pronouns?
The new pronoun. We got new ones.
It's per.
Per.
Pers, per self.
No, it's not. It's not. I'm telling. It's absolutely not. I'm looking at the camera right now. It's not. It's just not those things.
I saw that and I said, "You are a teacher saying there's a purse, per self."
A teacher, huh?
A teacher.
This is a TikTok, I'm guessing. Some libs of TikTok. Oh, shout out libs of TikTok. You can't take them down. The truth will set you free.
I was like, what in the, let's see.
So also looking for this guest name. I'm just curious.
Helena.
Yes, I heard her.
Yes. Is that not crazy?
She was on Tim Pool's podcast.
Okay. She's going around everywhere right now talking to people.
Please go listen to that. I'm going to suggest Tim Pool's. Marisol might suggest a spillover. But either way, the story and everything.
Hear it wherever, because she shares her story with another guy. So it's two different people at the same time.
Gotta check it out. It was very, 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 very interesting.
It was very interesting to the point where I was like, the fact that she recognized it herself and later felt like, this is not who I'm still not fulfilled. This is not who I am. She doesn't know what it was. And one thing she said was when Alex, the host, said, what would you tell parents who are, maybe their child comes to them and says this thing, and basically she says, don't go along with it. Don't go along with it. You as a parent feel like, well, I can't do that to my child, right? Because right now everybody's like, well, they can commit suicide, right? That's the first thing. It's more like, sit down and listen to your child. There's a deeper issue.
For sure.
Something else is happening. Sit down and talk to them. Listen to them. Keyword, listen to them.
Something's probably missing.
Something can, something is happening deeper inside to where you as a parent are oblivious and don't know that they're going through this. Mm-hmm. So sit down and listen to them, and don't basically dismiss whatever they say. Kind of more take it in and listen and be like, okay, I don't know what the right answer for that is. If your child comes up to you and says anything like that, I wouldn't go turn to transitioning my child.
No, I would look at my environment and say, okay, why is this a thing right now?
Right.
Okay, because let's just use you and I for an example. You've called yourself a latchkey kid. Mm-hmm. I wasn't a latchkey kid, but I also didn't have like all the attention and all the, I don't know. It seems like kids nowadays, what I'm trying to get at, need so much time and attention. Otherwise, they're going to fall off the rails, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to become this crazy sociopathic kid because mom and dad weren't there all the time. When we were kids, our parents worked hard. Our parents were always gone, but our parents also loved us. And also, we didn't have the internet 24/7 in our pockets. Again, I'm Mr. Tech. I never thought I would say that, because it's true. Our kids aren't going to have less screens in the future. They're going to have more. They're not going to have less immersion. They're going to have more immersion in tech.
My baby is obsessed with looking at the phone, at what it does.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
So the other day, I guess, and it's hard. You have two kids who are at different stages in their life. Penny now likes to watch one thing, and Sunny likes to watch another. Sunny's are obviously a little bit more educational. Coco Melon, eat your peas, and Penny's into watching YouTubers, right? Play
Roblox, yeah.
I'm like, you even know what that is, Penny? Yeah. I'm like, I'd rather you play it than fucking watch kids play it.
Well, give her that Switch already.
I did.
Oh, you did?
I tried to download it on her iPad, but I don't know how to play it. So how am I going to teach her to play it? So I said, wait till Mickey comes and Mickey can teach you how to do that. Because Mickey, and it's funny because I'm watching her watch these kids play it. And I remember thinking of Mickey, I can't believe she's watching Dan DTM or something like that's who she would watch all the time.
I don't know. Brooklyn loves that shit too.
And so I was just like, why do y'all like watching other kids play? I don't get it. I don't want to watch it. I want to play.
I get it. I can get it to an extent, but I also do still like to play more. And when we move into these new studios, Jingo's going to be playing video games. He's going to be playing Mario Kart, and people are going to be watching him play Mario Kart.
Isn't that crazy?
I love it.
And so I was on the computer working in the kitchen, right? And I see Penny sitting on the rocking chair and she's watching her show and Sunny's in her chair. And I got a new phone. So I let Penny use my phone now, right? Because she thinks it's fun to call people FaceTime. So now I made her own Apple ID because did you know that you can control her iPad from your thing? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So now I turn off her iPad and I tell her that her iPad doesn't work anymore. So I have control over it.
The watch, the phone, the iPad, you can control them all remotely.
I didn't know that. And so I was like, why didn't I do this a long time ago versus us having to fight about you can't get on the iPad. I just turn it off, period. That's all that happens. And so I was like, oh, this is wonderful. I told Pete, I said, now I can control it. I said, I'm at home, now we're not like, is she on the iPad? And I get it. There's nothing else. Sometimes Luisa can't play with her because she's taking care of a baby. What else is there to do? She's got a shitload of toys, but there's only so much her toys entertain her.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
And she has a great imagination. So
she
know she's exhausted everything.
Exactly. Because right now, before I came back here, she had her LOL car and the LOL dolls, and she was playing. And one of them was my sister with her dog. And one of them was her, and Sunny was the other baby. And she was pushing them around. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So we've gotten to the point where she knows she has tablet hour. Es hora de mi tableta. That's what she says. Okay. So she knows now that she can't get on it. I turn around and Sunny has the phone like this watching Coco Melon. I turned, I said, is she no, Rob, she's holding the phone like this. She's 9 months, not a year old, bro. 9 months, sitting in her little chair. I grabbed that phone so fast. I took it away. I said, and Luisa looks at me. I said, no. I said, we're not starting this. I said, Penny, I said, where's your slime? It doesn't work anymore. Let's make slime. I had to stop what I was doing. And that's the problem. It sucks as a working parent also, that even though you're there, you can't control everything. Luisa also can't control everything. She's taking care of two kids at the same time who like to do two different activities. You see what I'm saying? So I get why Luisa gave her the phone to watch that, because she likes to watch that. It's entertaining. Yeah. And what else can a baby do besides she's on her mat? She does her play mat. She goes on her walker. She goes for a walk. What else is a baby?
It's like, Mom, I ate, I pooped, I played.
Exactly. What else do you want me to do?
Else.
I was tripping out. I couldn't believe that she knew how to hold the phone at 9 months. I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I took that phone away. I put it in my room. I hid that bitch. I was like, I turned it off. I was like, we're not doing this. I wanted her to have it because what was happening whenever sometimes Luisa wouldn't answer. So I would I wanted to have a way to call Penny when we're out of town. So I thought, oh, this phone is here. I'll tell her it's her phone. I put my Barbie case on it. I said, this is your phone now. When I call you, you have to answer. Okay. I said, because when Mommy and Daddy are out of town, I want to know that you're okay. And she's like, okay. So she was calling me. I was calling her. She thinks she's texting me and she's sending like letters and emojis, but I don't know what she's saying, but I'm like, okay. So, and I'll just respond with a bunch of emojis like she does, but what I am going to do is, because she's done knowing the ABCs, right? We are now going to work on sight words so that we can start reading real simple books like I like cats type of books, right? Yeah. Like those 3-letter word books. But I thought about something. I said, oh, since she knows her alphabet, right? This is how we can play. When I give her a sight word, she'll have to text it to me, and we'll be playing texting back and forth. This will teach her how to spell, right? Mm-hmm. How to read. And then, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, it's the keyboard. So I was like, we're going to play that game as soon as, right now she still struggles with let me see, G, H, and I. For some and N. Those are her 4 letters. She kind of just doesn't seem to be able to like get. Mm-hmm. But I saw this thing on Instagram, a reel, on like how to teach them how to do things. And it's like you use the caps from like beer, and then you write the letter inside, and then you put them in this cup, and with the magnet, they're able to pull them out and drop them. So it's like coordination, everything. Yeah. So I'm going to make a reel out of it, guys. And I'll show you guys. I saw it on there. So I feel like I'm excited about this, and I just feel like I'm on a mission to have my child reading before she is 5.
Fantastic. Let's keep the subject going. If you want part 2, sign up for the Patreon.
Sign on. Patreon.com/Her Lounge Podcast, guys. Come over and join us. Be a part of her world. Join the Discord. You can start off with, the Comadre tier, which is only $5 to come on. You get the bonus episode, and you get to be a part of the Discord, which the Discord is lit, and we're so helpful, and I love it. And, we now have Gabriel there. So welcome to the podcast. I mean, to the Discord, Gabriel. So now we have 3 guys on my Discord, and I love it. I love that there's guys.
The 3 amigos. They're pretty good. They're good ones. They're good ones to have.
Yeah, I love them all. I think they're great. They were a great addition to our Discord, and I think the ladies love them, because they're just always like joking around.
It's nonstop.
Yeah, it's nonstop with them. So come on over and join us, guys.
And College Station this weekend.
College Station this weekend, February.
Whoa.
I'm way
May
behind.
28th.
May 28th, College Station, Texas. I think it's actually considered Bryan.
Bryan College. Yeah.
So come out, 2 shows. I'd love to meet you guys. Oh, shout out to Lisette. Lisette,
yeah.
Yeah. She came out to the Canyon Lake show.
Oh, cool.
At Goofy's. I got to meet her. I loved meeting the face. Like it's one thing to see a picture of your patrons, right? And it's another thing to actually meet them. It was great. She brought her family, came out to celebrate her son's birthday.
Oh, nice.
So it was really cool to meet her. So thank you for coming out to the show, and thank you for being a part of her world. So stay tuned for part 2.